we have Robert here with us today. Can you tell us a little about your background and who you are?
Oh gosh, I'm an old PJ. There's a camera. I'm an old PJ back in the 70s, and did that thing, and then at the end of NOM, it was a radical time, and they came to us and said, we're having budget cuts. We have guys, we need you to quit. So 20%, 30% of each unit had to quit. So my guy came to me and said, hey, are you in or what? And I said, what do you want? He goes, I think you ought to quit, go back to college. And the hard part was that so many of the senior guys in my unit and other units were coming home from Vietnam sour, bitter, angry at government. And so I, at 27, 28, looked at all these guys I looked up to who were not happy. They were angry. And I said, my bubble is sort of being shattered. I don't want to be like them when I grow up. I don't want to do 25 or 30 years and be bitter. And so he said, hey, and I said, okay. So I got out, went back to school, got my GI Bill, went back to college for the 5th time. Life had a way of dealing with me, so I went to the military, get my act together. And then, of all things, I had put a guy in a body bag one day, and I had this voice speak to me, and the voice just said, hey, I was a beach lifeguard down here, and had people die on me, and I was a ski patrolman. So I'm always working on people, as a PJ, pararescue. That's the Air Force side of what these guys do, sorry. We're the medical guys. Sometimes when they get in trouble, they call us.
A lot of times.
To come in. Anyway, I was a rescue guy, so it was a different kind of personality than you guys that are offense guys. I'm a defense guy. Anyway, this voice spoke in my head. I want you, if you're going to get out of the military, I want you to go to ministry. I said, I don't go to church, I don't like church, I don't like religion, and all that stuff. And this voice said, I want you to go back and work with screw-up kids like you. So out of college then, I became the chaplain at the University of Nevada, Reno, in football, baseball. Went to the athletic director and said, hey, your guys are getting busted. This guy's this guy's that. You want some help? No, he was an F-bombing guy, Okay, God, I'm just telling you, he's a good quarterback. He's rescuable. Anyway, ended up with 15 guys in my living room, What's your issue? Suck it up. You're puke, You don't talk like a pastor type. I'm not a pastor type. Get it together. Or you're out of here. Anyway, that was about a 25-year run of working with kids. And on the side, I did business consulting. And people said, do you still train people? And I said, well, what do you train them? I don't know. And one thing led, 5 people at a staff meeting, 10 people, to 50 people, to 100 people. And that took me to about 30 nations, doing consulting, leadership management training. So I'd pastor with these kids, and then I'd fly around the world. I did that for a long time. And at 50, when I got out of service also, I read that Sports Illustrated magazine, which you guys would never have known about, but you should. It's May 13th, 1979. It's about the craziest race in the world, and it was this Ironman. It was year 3. And the article was about year 2, when this Navy SEAL, Dunbar, all of his issues from year 1 and year 2, these guys have showed up. Anyway, as a PJ, I said, I can swim, I can bike, I can run, and everybody said you can't do it. I mean, that's stupid. No one, and the way that Sports Illustrated wrote it, which in the old days we used to read Sports Illustrated, that was our Bible. You guys don't do that. Read that thing, and I read it, and I went, oh my God, and I read it, and it's in detail, the pain, the puking, the agony, the near drownings and all this stuff. I said, I gotta do that on my honeymoon. I'm gonna get a free trip to the islands. I got a bunch of guys tell me I can't do it, cut me checks, I'm gonna go over there, it's done, let's sit back, have a cigar, have a great time in the islands, So anyway, I did that year 3, and that was the last year it was in Honolulu. The next year it went to Kona, where it's been ever since. So there's only 2 of us in the world left that have ever done Honolulu and Kona. So I did year 3 and then had 5 kids. And at the end of that 5-kid kind of thing, my punk 6'5", 235 DN son says to me, "Dad, you're turning 50, man. I mean, like, you want to shoot yourself? I mean, you're really old." And I go, "What a punk, you know? No respect." And I said, "You're going to eat that." So I made a comeback in Ironman at 50, just to put his nose in it, put him on the finish line. When I come through, dude, just watch me, take pictures. I'm golden. And so all 5 of my kids at the finish line, you know.
Wow.
The point was just to have them watch and see what they should see. People with one leg, people blind, people with every kind of reason not to do what they're doing. No excuse kind of people. Crapping their pants, passing out the finish line, you know. And I said to my kids, "What'd you see?" And they went, "We've never seen anything like that." I said, "No, you never have, you never will. These people will not take excuses as a lifestyle. They're overcomers.
Wow.
So what's your issue?" We don't have issues. We have opportunities.
Right.
We don't have problems. Problems are negative. We have opportunities. And so when I did that, I liked it. So I said, "I think I'm starting doing it again." Let's have fun. So I've done 12. They're a trip. You just sort of figure them out. And that's been sort of, I took the PJ thing and then sort of adapted to my lifestyle and then got back physically and found I liked being physically fit. And it gave me an entree with guys. You know, they always say, "What do you do?" And a lot of guys tell old stories. But I felt for me to stay in the game, I needed to stay relevant and not tell old stories. What have you done recently? So then I continue to do stuff so that when I work with men, and some ladies, but when I work with guys, they say, "Oh, you're what?" And I go, "Hey, what you?" And then we talk, and then they say, "You do this stuff?" And I go, "Yeah, why aren't you? Are you fat and overweight and diabetes and high blood pressure? Why'd you let yourself go? You used to be so in the game, and then you just bailed out. Look at you. Why?" "Well, I got these issues." And then I speak a lot to seniors on you choose how you age. Choose how you age. And so when I'm speaking to young kids, I talk young kid language. You know, I was like you. I was a punk. I screwed up. You know, I'm not your all-star winner who ever won anything. I didn't win anything. In high school, college, I never won a thing in my life. But I outlasted guys who quit. And so the middle-aged guys, I talk about, if you don't get your act together with good habits in your middle age, it's really hard to now change it when you're older. So you're setting up a lifestyle that's not about being a stud, it's not about being an athlete, it's that the best health insurance you can have is to be in good shape, being healthy. Because things bounce off of you better when you're healthy than when you're obese. Like I heard today in the gym again, that 80% of the COVID patients in the United States were obese people. Overweight obese people.
Imagine that.
But if you can work on being in shape, you can bounce things off that won't stick. The cancers and different kinds of things. Your body is built up, ready to go. So I like the young people, I like the middle-aged group, and then I talk to the old folks on, you know, you want to be able to get on the floor with your grandkids, and you want to be able to get out of bed, not pull your back muscles and stuff. So if you just spend an hour a day, invest 1 hour a day, the other 23 hours are so much better. Sleeping, eating, mental cognitivity, all the stuff is working for you.
Yeah.
If you just get your blood going and sweat a little bit. So that's what I endeavor to continue to do. And the best part is back working with military and encouraging young guys and young ladies, you can do this.
Yeah.
You don't have to quit. You know, the ambulance is right there. We're not going to kill you. But did you prepare? I have these Christian kids come and they say, "You don't act like a pastor." I go, "What does a pastor act like?"
Yeah.
You know, "I don't know, not like you." And I say, "So what?" They say, "Well, I'm a Christian." I said, "That's really nice. I pray. That's cool. I study the Bible. That's just great." They look at you and I say, "But God doesn't live here." He's not here. You can pray all you want now. It ain't gonna help. There's no miracle behind that 100th push-up.
Oh man, that would crush kids.
You know, like
Their
The
mentality.
pastor.
yeah, like listen. If you were really close to God, you would have heard God say, "Prepare, don't be stupid." But you didn't hear that, did you? Because you weren't that close to God.
Wow.
And so they looked like, I say, listen, I like you, you're sweet, you're a nice kid, you're clueless. There's no miracles here. You either paid your dues and got ready for this, or we're gonna crush you. And I love you, but we're gonna crush you. And you're gonna be gone, you go back to your Bible study. And they look, I go, so, did you do your work? Oh no. I was saying, odds are you didn't. But we'll find out what we have. We have 8 weeks. You know,
Wow.
8 hours a day.
Wow.
Bring your A game. Let's see what you got.
Wow. See, that's the type of pastor we need. Yep. Be what's missing.
I was fortunate because in my early Christian walk, my pastor was a pro baseball player.
Wow.
And he was the American League Rookie of the Year. And he was a small guy. His name was Albie Person. And he was a running back at El Monte High School. And then he played for the Angels. And when we hung out with him, he just got in our space. Like, what are you doing? He didn't pastor us. He coached us. You know, you're on the bench. Get out of here. You just look and say, did you do it? You did. Go home. Come back next week. Yeah, he wouldn't deal with you. You either did your stuff. And so we were coddled, like, how do you feel? You know, feel like you're close to this or that. Did you do your stuff? Get out, come back next week. And so it was great for us as young guys, undisciplined guys with ponytails, smoking weed, like, doesn't cut it here. Get out. And we all changed because somebody got in our space. Somebody loved us and coached us. Didn't ask us how we felt all the time. We don't care how you feel. Do what's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, for all of you, I'm sorry you got all that. That's probably not exactly what you expected.
No, that was amazing. And you know, we've been finding more, you know, as we've got deeper into coaching and mentoring, that, you know, ministry can be, it can take place anywhere.
Anyway,
You know, and ministry, you don't have to be a priest or whatever else, but you're basically just providing ministry to others, you know, and uplifting in whatever way. And so a lot of people do not like, accountability can be uncomfortable, right? And when you put accountability on people like you do, but accountability at the end of the day is love. If I'm spending my energy on you or you in a focused manner, and I'm giving you feedback, that takes from me.
that's right.
And so I'm giving that, and that's actually my way of giving love to people as well, is being holding them accountable. Because you want to see them, you hold them to a high standard because you want to see them grow and you want to see them up here. You didn't give a shit that you could say, go ahead, do whatever you want.
That's right.
So I really love that. And that's a big takeaway. So
The question then is to say to the kid, what would you like me to hold you accountable to? Versus, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm not going to do anything for you. You tell me what you'd like me to do, because the contract is you're asking me. That I'm not a bad guy when I do it, because you've asked me.
right,
Versus, I'm going to hold you accountable to this. Well, he hasn't bought in, or she hasn't bought in.
right.
So then when they give you a list, I want you to hold me accountable to these things every day. I give you permission. Okay, then I'll walk in the space you've given me. So it's huge to ask somebody, well, how big of accountability do you want?
Yeah, because you're getting their permission, and then once that,
Because sometimes they give you junior accountability, you know.
yeah,
I don't know if I want a whole lot. Just
Right.
enough to keep me out of jail. You know, well, how about changing your life, or getting excellent, or becoming a leader, or, you know, that's a lot of work. Okay, then I won't ask you about that stuff, you know. But you could ask for a lot of accountability and really change
yeah,
and grow and come into the real person that lives inside you that you've dumbed down.
yeah. So we've been connected through, we both do work in human performance with athletes, military, and a whole range of high performers, and we've been connected through Ryan Spatafor, I think
Chuck Patterson.
Chuck Patterson,
Yeah.
who's just moving to Vermont today.
Yeah.
He was here last
Chuck.
week doing a podcast.
Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
How's that drive across America?
Did you get the U-Haul complete?
Come on, Chuck. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't make it to Sano. It was Mother's Day weekend. I'm sorry. I thought I wanted to be with you at Sano for the go. Sorry.
So, I mean, all of these kind of epic people that are within our circle that have kind of connected us at the same time. So, you know, it's
Good to meet you guys.
Yeah, it's amazing to have you and
We're close by, which is
Yeah. Yeah, so we got plenty of stuff that we'll be working on in the future. But you know, on the subject of human performance, not just for athletes, but also for aspiring military candidates going into any high performing units within the military, for example, special operations. What guidance do you give to those individuals?
You know, if I can get them early enough, I'll say, do your research and find out why everybody who has attempted to do what you want to do has failed. They all wanted it just like you. They all thought they were in it just like you. So if you're smart, you'll first figure out what it is you want to do and then why so many have not made it. And then find out why many have made it. And then determine, once you've figured out what you're really getting yourself into, because I don't know about you, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into fully. I mean, they told me a bunch of stuff, and then reality hits when you get in there, you know, like, no one said, really? This? You didn't tell me that, you know? And so I then say, number two is, after you've done your research and you really know what you're going to get into, then put together a bulletproof strategy of training. So that when you go in there, you're at home, you're comfortable. It doesn't rock your world. And most people get their worlds rocked when they get in, because we all train in a positive environment or a neutral environment. We're in the gym, there's rock and roll, people are going on, we do our stuff. There's nobody telling you you're an effing this all day long in your workouts here, right? And so the job of the instructor in whatever you're doing, whether it's a first responder or SEALs or Marines or Air Force Pararescue or Combat Control or whatever it is, or Rangers, it's their job to see if they can break your why. Like, why did you really want this? And can our negativity crush your positivity?
Wow.
So because the Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they're not going to be nice to you, and it's not going to be a positive environment. So this isn't an athletic event. This is where you have to be athletically prepared for the mental grind of, this thing is going to have a lot of negativity. Things aren't going to go the way you think. What they say, this didn't happen. They lied to us. This is what happened. What they tell us, ambush or more than we thought or whatever. So if you haven't learned to live with negativity, constant negativity, which is, okay, bring your game to me because I'm still stronger than all your negativity that's trying to crush me. And if you haven't prepared for that with a bulletproof strategy, that can rock your world. Like we just did an event the other day at Kokoro, at our SEALFIT thing, and this lady is really nice, and she had practiced her pull-ups. And so she did 150 pull-ups in one day, sets of 3 or 4. You know, she's probably about 5'5", 140 pounds, and she was, I want to do this thing. Well, the problem was, and I said to her before, you know, as a coach, you're good, you know, it's okay. The problem was the day she got there, it was like, well, we sprayed her down and it was 45 degrees out. And she became so hypothermic, she couldn't do one. Her body locked up on her. Cold, early morning, spraying down with a hose, being muddy and wet, now go do your pull-ups. And she shook. And her jaw locked up, her tongue came out, and we had to pull her. And the medic had to come and pull her and say, you're done. And she said, but I was in shape. We were in shape, but not for this. This rocked your world. This got inside you. Because you didn't train to be shaking and blue and white and out of your mind, just shaking so bad with hypothermia. None of us really train like that.
Wow.
So, that, number one, do your research Number 2, get your strategy. Number 3, it has to be a bulletproof strategy. And then number 3, then you have to count your cost. And the cost is, like Ryan just took off, like he had to count the cost of what he was leaving behind. Going to write him letters and call him on a regular basis. You know, hey, where are you? I'm having a baby. And you ain't here. Where'd you go? Right? So there's costs, like there's physical costs to get ready. There's mental costs. There's emotional costs. There's relational costs. There's financial costs. There's all these costs that no one tells you about, that when you say, I want to do that, well, have your closest people signed off on you doing that? Or are you just going to go dark on them and they think you're a jerk because you're a narcissist? Because it's all about you now. You don't care what anybody else thinks. Or what about your money? It's going to cost money for supplements or for coaches or for going places or being trained. Well, I don't have any money. Well, you have enough money for your blend. You have money for your coffees. You have money for this. So you have to rearrange the cost as I'm willing to lay all my spending down to get to this goal. Right? And they go, I don't know. And so, you know, like, they don't want it bad enough. So there, you know, relational costs, like, did your wife say you could do that? You know, did your girlfriend? Like my girlfriend said to me, you're not going to the military. I go, I think I am. And she said to me, if you go in the military, that's the most stupid of all the stupid things you've ever done. And if you do that, volunteering during Vietnam to go in when you don't have to go in, I won't be here when you get back. And I went, see ya. She said, you can't do that. You can't do that to me. I said, no, honestly, I mean, I got to do this. I need to grow up. I'm getting a master's degree in irresponsibility. I'm a punk. I need the military to grow me up if I'm going to live. I mean, I go to college 4 times because I couldn't go to college 1 time. You know, like, I want to go surfing. I don't want to go to finals. I want to go snow skiing. You know, I want to smoke weed and not do my fine. You know, and finally you go through college and everybody else is progressing in life, and you're going, how come I'm still screwed up? Because you're screwed up. And so I need to go get in the military. They need to kick my butt. I need structure. No, you don't. Just stop drinking so much. I need help. I need to OD. I need to max out. Jump in. Will you guys change my life? And so, anyway, when I got out of the military, I came home and looked her up. And I said, hi. She goes, nice to see you. Didn't expect back so soon. Well, the war ended, you know. Let's get out. I said, you want to go out? She goes, no. I told you. You go in, I'm done. And I went, oh, that's right. You sure? Yep. I'm going out with that guy. Okay. Later. I walked away. And most guys don't, you know, just say, really? You won't be here? You know, if you want something bad enough, you'll do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll do anything.
Great.
You'll jump through any hoop if you want it bad enough. And most people don't want what they want that bad. So they'll always find excuse-minded people to give them excuses on why they should have an excuse to really not pay the price like that. But you'll never accomplish anything great if you live a balanced life. Because when you do great things, you have to become unbalanced for a season, for a period of time, to do that thing. And then when you accomplish that goal, then you go back to be balanced again. And people ask you to come speak on the program, write books, all this stuff. How'd you do that? Well, I went unbalanced for a period of time to focus. But most people don't want to be that unbalanced, or their relationships don't want them to be that unbalanced, or their whatever it is says, just be normal. But you can't be normal if you're going to do great things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And you ask anybody in the teams, were you normal? No, I wasn't normal. But I got into the teams. And now that I'm out, I'm trying to learn what it was to be like normal again, you know? But for that period of time, I had 2 guys. They said to me, Owens, you need to go in pararescue. Actually, the story is, I was lifeguard in San Clemente, and every year the SEALs would come by and say, we need water guys. And so guys would say, hey, you want to be military? And then my chief would say, don't wait. The pararescue guys would come by and say, they're coming next. And so the PJs would come in and say, we're looking for water guys too. And so two of our lifeguards were Air Force reservists out of March Air Force Base at 303rd. And so they could go to college, lifeguard at the beach, and be a PJ. It was just great.
Wow.
Jump out of planes on the weekends, scuba dive, mountain climb, all your stuff's paid for by REI. You go to college, go to REI, get your stuff, jump all week, the lifeguard, do your thing. And they said, Robert, you need to come in with us. I mean, we're having more fun than is legal. The only thing this military is when we show up and salute, that's the last time we do it. The rest of the weekend is just fun. And I said, okay. And so they said to me, you can be PJ material. And I said, no, I can't. I don't have special ops talent. So poor self-worth issues.
Right.
And I said, you don't understand, you guys are studly, and I'm not studly like that. I mean, I do my stuff, but I'm not you. And they said, you have that ability within you, but you've never let it come out. So this is a deal. If you'll do what we say for 6 months, just do what we tell you for 6 months, when you go in, you'll score. You'll be good to go. And I said, well, what do you want me to do for 6 months? These things. All that. And we're going to ask for accountability. No dating, no chicks, no weed, no alcohol. You're going dark. You're going to go completely dark, and we're going to give you workouts, and you're going to do those workouts. And if you'll do that, if you want it bad enough, you'll be good to go. And I told my parents, and they said, no, we don't want you in the military. I told my girlfriend, I don't want you leaving, I don't want you going in. I told everybody, they all thought I was crazy. Lost everybody. During that time, they said, he's lost his brain. And so I just listened to two guys. Every week, every day. Owens, did you get your stairs in? You know, how many squats you do? How many lunges, soft sand lunges do you? Blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't have faith in me. I had faith in their faith in me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my life, I haven't had faith in me. But I've had faith in the right people around me who had faith for me, and I just latched onto their faith. That if you really think I can, then I'll really try, because if you think I can, I'll do it. But I didn't think I could do it. And that's why, when we got in, class 150, we graduated 7.
Nutrition race right there.
Actually, with the rollbacks, we graduate about 16, 17. Rollbacks are the guys that get hurt, and then they get put in their class.
We had a similar.
Did you?
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is that if you count your costs, and you want it, your why is really a strong why, and then you find the right role models.
Yeah.
And then you change locations. You change where you live, you change who you hang with, you change your schedule, you change everything to go be around role models, which may be close by or may not be close by. And the role model has to be a winner. The role model has to be somebody who's done it and excelled at it, not a wannabe who tells you what's going to happen to you.
Right.
Right? Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's an expert. Just ask them. But show me what you've done. And if you've done it, then I'll do it, because if you say you've done it and got you through, all those other guys didn't make it. And so when I'm standing with, the 7 of us, it's like, as I mentioned before, we're all the good guys. The good guys didn't have the right mentoring. They didn't have the right role models. They didn't have the right costs. And then something happens 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Like in our class, we knew we were doing an 8-week deal. And so you prepare, okay, mentally, 8 week, and you're doing your testing every week and all your stuff. And then the Air Force came down and said, we don't know what to do with your class. So we're just going to keep you here indefinitely. Perfect. So you're going to be the fittest PJs ever, because you're going to train longer than anybody has ever trained before. And we don't know how long it's going to be. There are guys that quit right there on the spot.
Wow.
They psychologically couldn't go, we just want to get to 8 weeks. How long? Like you run.
Yeah.
Have fun. And so we did 13 weeks, 13 weeks. They just said, well, if you're doing this, you could probably do so much better if we had another 5 weeks on this thing, So let's just push. Let's see what we really got here, so we have time to develop you. Oh, no. 4 in the morning, fall asleep at dinner at 6 o'clock, Anyway, the point was the guys mentally weren't prepared for the changes of, we told you this, but we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And they can't flex with, whatever the training is. They're going to wreck you. They're going to tell you one thing, but you're going to get off at 6. No, you're not. We're going midnight. No, you told us 6. Sorry.
Uncertainty really drives people crazy.
It drives uncertainty. But in war, everything's uncertain. You don't know.
Exactly. And adaptive capacity is like this thing that keeps coming up, and it's your ability to shift.
Yep.
And being able to be flexible. You're not in control of much in those situations, are you?
You have control of yourself.
Right.
That's all you got.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And the big thing is having control of your mind and your ability to control your thoughts.
You bet. And so we were told, you've prepared physically, but this is 80% mental.
Yep.
It's only 20% physical.
Right.
And you look and you just don't get it. What do you mean? This is going to be a beatdown. The guy said, it's going to be a physical beatdown. Then the other guy said, no, it's going to be a mental beatdown. And I said, well, how do you train for a mental beatdown? Like, what does that look like? How do you mentally get beat up? Like, what are you going to do to me? We'll show you. And so you don't know, and if you're not mentally able to cope with the uncertainty and the change, the helicopter didn't make it, didn't make a DZ, or you didn't get your meds, or the guy didn't have a broken leg, he's got a broken back and a broken this, or, they've got 300 extra bad guys. They tell you, if you can't flex, you'll get your lunch eaten.
Yeah.
Because you'll be overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't want you to be overwhelmed. We want you to be mentally strong. So they have to build that in you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's talking about flexing out, we know that you do a lot of work now with athletes as well. So what's the mindset kind of shift and focus that people need from the relationship between that and the military? Like, do you see that a lot of the professional athletes that you train and work with have that same kind of mindset that special operations guys have?
Sometimes athletes are prima donnas. Everything is just so about them. I do my workouts, and I do my eating, and I do my ice baths, and I do this. But in the teams, it's never about you. It's about everybody around you.
Mm-hmm.
And learning to be a team guy and concern for your team, not just about you, is a maturing process. And I find a lot of athletes, it's really about them. And it works for them as long as it's about them and it works. But whenever it doesn't work, then they have this mental kind of a tilt, like, it's not working right now. Why? Because you've been so into you so long, you forget there's outside variables to you. And you've got to learn to work with the outside variables, not let them rock your athletic thing because LeBron's hurt, or AD's hurt, or something like that. I'm working on this hamstring right here has been 9 months now, and it hasn't responded. This one, when I ran the 7 marathons in 7 days in 7 continents, I pulled the stupid thing about 3 weeks before the start of the race. So that when I was running, I couldn't step up a curb. I couldn't lift my leg to get up a curb. I could run flat, but as far as hill climbs and stuff, I couldn't push off. Well, then your head says, what am I going to do? And then you and me would say, do it. Just go find a way to win. Figure it out. And pretty soon, and that's the head game of life isn't always perfect. Things aren't always the way you expect. You've got to, with athletes, say to them, athletes get hurt, get over it. But I got hurt. Yeah, you'll get hurt again. Get over it. Do what you got to do. When I was getting ready for Kokoro, which is this 50-hour Navy SEAL thing, I was getting ready for Murph and stuff. We have to do weighted push-ups. So you have to do all your Murph stuff with at least 20 pounds, if not 30 pounds on your back. I got my shoulder too far out one morning, and I just felt it, and I went, oh no, and I couldn't move it. And I think, I have to do Kokoro, 50 hours nonstop, with 100 evolutions, with a bad shoulder. And what am I gonna do? I paid my money. They don't return your money, you know? I've worked 3 years for this. It was an experiment to see if I could get as strong in my 60s as I was in my 20s. For seniors, do we have to fade to be frail? Or if you stay in the game, can you still be in shape when you're going from 60 to 70?
Wow.
How old are you now?
I'm 70 in 4 months.
Wow.
Wow.
And so I wanted, as I speak to seniors about you choose how you age, I watched Ironman, and I watched them become frail from 60 to 65, because we have age groups. 65 to 70, you look at their bodies, 70 to 75, 75 to 80, and you can see age, you can see fragility. And so I'd interview these guys and say, hey, it's great to see you. We'd be out on the course before the race or something. I'd say to a 70-year-old, how are you doing? I can push the pedal, I just can't push it as strong as I used to. I can swim, I can't pull as much as I used to. I can run, I'm just not as fast. And I'd say, okay. And then there was this one lady though, and she failed at her Ironman. She failed at 77. She'd done like 16 of them. She failed at 77. She didn't make the time cutoff at 78. She didn't make it at 79, and so she stopped. And then at 80, she went out and hired a strength coach.
Damn.
Wow.
And when she came
Glass
back,
ceilings.
glass ceilings, and they take you off the course at the 17-hour mark. So it's like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., whatever it is, to midnight. And she then came back after having a strength coach at 80, and she finished an hour and a half before cutoff time.
Wow.
Where she'd been taken off all those previous years. Meaning at 80, she still had more capability,
Wow.
more in her, but she was told she was 80 or 75 and she should just live 75. But that potential at any age, whatever age you are listening, there's more, and so my book is called The 20X Principle, that there's 20 times more potential in all of us at any age, but it takes someone to bring it out of us. Because there's too much pain to do it on your own. It's hard, mentally hard, physically hard, relationally hard. But if you coach me and you help me, then I can again do what you say. And I can go past my limits because you say, come on, do another set. You know, do this, do that, what's wrong with you? And so I thought at that point, this coach got this out of her, she did this, it was all this national publication stuff, and I said, I'm just a lazy Ironman. If I want, I could get back in shape the way I was maybe in my 20s. And that would be my personal experiment, to do those 5 events, 4 of which I was the oldest who ever was to show up, and I was told I was too old, don't show up. You're too old, don't show up. And I took that as a little fire in my belly, and I said, I'm gonna train. But when I got into Kokoro, tear the shoulder, and I show up knowing that my shoulder doesn't work, and I had to figure out, okay, when I have to do these push-ups, I've got to keep my elbow in, I've got to keep my hand in a certain place, and I made it through.
Wow.
Meaning that life isn't perfect. You have to flex, you have to adapt, figure the puzzle out. Life's a puzzle. And athletes don't like to figure those puzzles out. They just want things to be right, or easy, or perfect. And I like that too, but it doesn't happen a lot. You know, life comes and hits you in the gut. There's just something that's going to happen. As it turned out, I've had shoulder surgery on both these shoulders and both these legs past 66. And I'm ready for the next go around. Because athletes get hurt, get over it, let's go.
Yeah.
Only because if I spend time talking to people my age, they'll tell me about the medications I should be taking and all the issues, you know, and I go,
No.
I don't want to be around you because you'll make me think old, act old, feel old. So if I hang out with guys like you, I feel young. I go drown me. Go drown me down there, you know, whatever it is. Because you are like the people you hang with. right? Winners hang with winners, losers hang with losers, and excuse-minded people always gravitate to excuse-minded people to give them excuses. And so we have learned we can do it if we want it bad enough. Just how bad do we want it?
Right.
And you got to count that cost. So when you say get all that to say somebody wants to do this stuff, find your why, do your research, make sure it's good research, not cheesy research.
Yeah.
Find your strategy, bulletproof, find your role models, count your costs, start and adjust, and then adjust again and adjust again. Because once you get in it, you'll have to keep adjusting, because what you thought isn't going to work all the way to get new insight. It's a growth process of all the time. You just keep learning.
Yeah. And accepting feedback.
Accepting feedback and walk in humility and say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
I need help. Help me. I don't, humility is huge. Don't act like you know anything. Just ask questions, quiet, show me, help me.
Yeah. And what we like to say to guys going in, after all of that is like, it's about just adding value to the guy to your left or the guy to your right or the girl to your left, whatever you're going to.
You bet.
But being a good person, it starts with just being a good person, a good team player, and being observant and empathetic towards people that are around you and adding value, even if it's, I'm going to get up early, I'm going to get all my stuff ready, that way I could just be ready to support or assist anybody else, because I know that we have a big ocean event or whatever else that people are kind of, or early morning swim on Wednesdays that they used to take us like at 5 a.m. or whatever, and some people would be like,
Be the most quiet bus ride
ever. Yeah.
Right.
So, but we talk about glass ceilings. So it's such an inspiration to talk with you because.
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah.
Just for you listening on this teams thing and caring about others, and I'll get you up at 5 in the morning if you don't feel like it. Let me encourage you, that kind of thing. We have a thing now in assessment, and I'm not sure if the other branches do. They probably do. It's where you get a 360 review by your peers. So at the end of all that, you pass all your stuff. Then you're given a questionnaire. Who are the 5 people you want to be deployed with?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the 5 people you don't want to be deployed with? And then comments. And the sad part is that the instructors will say to you, you've completed everything. You've completed Air Force Special Warfare, or BUDS, or Rangers, you've done it all. But you don't make it because your team doesn't want to be around you.
Right.
And they go, what? You mean I've been working out with them all this time? Well, they didn't tell you the truth. They think you're an ass.
Yeah.
They think you're a jerk. And it's so sad to see young men say, what do you mean I can't go in? These guys don't want to be deployed with you. That's sad. Because you never figured it out. It was all about you. And it's a team thing. It's caring for the people around you. And most young, egocentric, strong-willed guys, it's me, I'm a stud. That'll get you crushed.
Yes, we've seen that. And normally just like a pattern across the spectrum of life is that when people get too confident or too kind of in their own ego and lack of humility, that's when life sends them some obstacles.
You bet.
So
Glass ceiling.
glass ceilings. You're 69, you're about to turn 70 in 4 months, as you said. So what's your training schedule look like throughout the week? Or, what's your training like these days?
Just to say, every decade is different, as you know. Every decade. So 50 was different than 60s. My body's changing. I don't get it. I think I have the same body I've had since I'm 20 or something, Just didn't so. So I'm in the process of having 2 new adventures. When I got home from the 7 marathons in 7 days and 7 continents, I had a heart attack.
Whoa.
And so, but the heart attack was not like normal. It was, the doc said it was my lower right ventricle, which is the easy one, because the blood comes in on top, works its way down and goes out. So I woke up in the morning and I said to my wife, hey, guess what? I'm having a heart attack. And she said, no, you're not. She had a nursing background. I said, yeah, I am. I'm having a heart attack. Arms going, got this kettlebell sitting on my chest, just like classic textbook. And she said, no. I said, don't freak. I don't need you to freak out. Mental control. Stay in the game.
Calm, breathe.
Think your thoughts. Take a deep breath. Easy day. Fun day. Good day. Hollywood. You know, she's going, you're having a heart attack. God, I don't need your negativity. This is just another adventure. We don't have problems, we have adventures. Just call the doc, call the hospital, if I'm in insurance, the network center. I think I'll go have a shower. I think it's a good day to have a heart attack. So I got up, I go, this would be a trip. I've never had one of these before. So took a shower and shaved. I said, drive me to the hospital without a heart attack. And so got the hug. I walk in, they go, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm having a heart attack. And the guy goes, no, you're not. Yeah, I am. I'm paramedic. I'm having a heart attack. No, you're not. You look too good. Just give me the wheelchair and tell the guy I'm having a heart attack. Anyway, had the stupid heart attack. And they put 3 stents in. But I ran a half marathon 2 months later.
God!
I just said, let's see if this engine works.
Wow!
You know, but it wasn't a bad heart attack. Anyway, the other guy that I did 777 with, he's the chairman of the Boston Marathon for 30 years. He's the head guy. His name is David McGilvery. And he and I did year 3 together in Honolulu. He was 23, I was 27. And here we are doing 7 marathons. I'm 66, and he's 63 or something. We have the longest endurance careers in the United States. And so he had a heart attack too. He got home and had a heart attack after 153 marathons or something. Point being that endurance athletes, if you don't figure out how to take breaks, you can damage yourself for the long run. But that's all new science. Ben Greenfield was working on some of that as a nutrition guy, trying to figure out what is too much for how long. So I've got a 50-year endurance history. Anyway, so I wanted to play with that and see how that's going to work out. But then I got COVID. And when I got COVID knocked me for a loop. And that was a year ago. I got it at the very beginning in February, 2 years ago. And I got it from my wife. But COVID has affected my lungs. So I don't have the anaerobic capacity that I had before. I have the aerobic capacity. But wall balls, box jumps, stairs, sprints, it's like there's a restrictor on my chest. Like there's a big something. I can't breathe. So when you ask me, what does it look like now? We reshuffle the deck. Say, okay, this is the next adventure. You know, Let's see what you do now. Is this permanent lung damage, or is it going to heal with time? The docs don't know. So I go to a pulmonologist. What's the deal with me? You know, we don't know. So my workouts is I try to do an hour run every day. And to save my knees, I'm on a treadmill inside. I only go out in the asphalt once a week. I run from Newport to Huntington back, just to see what my knees feel like and stuff. Because these are old knees. I got a lot of miles on these knees since pararescue.
Wow.
And then I do a ton of core work because I don't want to look pregnant when I'm old. I have a deal. I have a thing. I don't want any donut holes. And donut holes, when you put your shirt on, and you see that belly button sticking out, got that hole there. Oh, look at that thing, And so I say to my wife, every morning I get up, put on my shirt, look straight down, and it's got to go straight. It can't have a donut hole sticking out or a donut, So I do a lot of core work because for an old person, for a guy my age, your lower back is everything. And because you get, the older you get, the more rigid you become and the more linear you become. But life isn't linear. It's not forward and back. It's angles. So for me, lower back is huge. And stomach is what holds the lower back in. And then since I want to do an Ironman every year, I do a lot of shoulder work because I try to make my Ironman a swim where I don't use my legs a whole lot and make it an upper body workout.
Wow.
So that way you save the legs for the
Yeah.
rest of the.
Right. And so I train with ankle weights on my wrists, 2.5 pounds on each wrist, with a buoy between my legs. And then I just get long and I just work on an upper body workout, and my legs are just pretty much there for balance and keep me in the thing. My Ironman doesn't really start till the bike. I just do a swim, have a swim, do the swim, and then get out of the swim and say, okay, now the day starts. Because swimming for me is easiest. I was a swimmer, water polo player, lifeguards. So I do that, and I do a lot of shoulder work, core work, more stretching now than I've ever done. And I have a goal, I want to do the splits. So I'm working on my splits. I want to do my splits for 70, 71, you know.
Wow.
Just because it's hard to do.
It's
Are you
hard.
close?
Today didn't feel as good as yesterday, but yeah, it's like I was on my mat today going sideways and this way and that way, and all these young people go, Mr. Owens, how you doing? I go, just leave me alone.
In yoga?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do yoga. Mark Devine started a thing called warrior yoga, and it crushes people. It's just these intense poses. You know, Mark is a 22-year Navy SEAL commander, and he started SEAL Fit as a contract from the Navy. And the Navy said, can you, because he was honor man in his class, and he was a ninja, he was a martial arts guy when he went into the Navy.
Wow.
And so he was always in his head, and cyborg, and that was his nickname, cyborg. And all through his 22 years, he was known as this fitness kind of a guy, as well as an accountant. And he then started SEAL Fit in Encinitas when the Navy said, can you help us prepare young people for buds? Would you start something that's a pre-buds? So he took a CrossFit and turned it into a SEAL Fit. So all the stuff was up and down the stairs outside, in the ocean, in the sand, log PT, all sandbags, angles versus just clean and jerks, squats and all that stuff. And he did that for, I think 12 years, and he had a 92% success rate that if you could make it through Mark's pre-training, you made it through buds at Howard.
Wow. That's good.
Because he
numbers.
said, big numbers, he said, just do what I'm telling you to do. And so at that SEAL Fit, when I was training, because it's no longer there, but we had FBI, we had Homeland Security, we had ICE, we had NFL guys. Anybody who wanted to really get in shape, get tested, there was a warrior environment. You could never make any noise. There was no cussing. You couldn't make any, you suffered in silence. You could say to somebody, good job, but that's all you could do. You couldn't fall on the floor. You could never put your hands on your knees, on your hips. If you did, the whole room had to do 20 burpees, you know. You have to walk away, box breathe, get it together, come back, hit it again. It was a really neat environment of warriors and different than athletics. Like one guy, he did his Murph with an apple in his mouth. And the point was, can I run those miles and do that stuff without losing control of my mouth and crushing the apple?
Wow.
So he took a bite and held on to that bite with his drool hanging out. And the whole time he's running, but don't lose control of his jaw and go like that. So he made the whole thing, just that kind of mind control. While you're physically doing your thing, can I keep control of my mind and my body parts? Anyway, they do different things like that, just to, how are you doing with your head? Anyway, so he has warrior yoga, and it's just the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, holding these poses like a ninja, you know, these long, drawn-out poses and stuff, thighs, quads, glutes. Anyway, so my workouts are changing. All that's a long question to say. Big wow.
Nope, we're so good.
So good.
I just double checked.
I'm just checking to see every week how my lungs are and what I got going for this next round. I'll know the next Ironman, and I'm a little nervous because of the swim, because I don't know how deep I can get.
Well, speaking of swim and getting deep, I know that you have done all this training, and a couple weeks ago you went to the session Deep in Fitness.
You need to go to UTL.
And UTL, Underwater Torpedo League. So
I did it because Chuck said, Hey,
Right.
you want to show up?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Just show up.
So what are your thoughts on that? How does that add value for mental training or anything else? What were your thoughts on it? What's your takeaway from it?
It's huge. It's wonderful. As I mentioned before, 80% mental, 20% physical. When you're underwater, your head plays games with you. And it wants to tell you that you're at your limits. But when you, as you would know, as you set this thing up, you can break through limits. You can do more than you think, but you've got to take your mind on. And so for me, being back underwater is huge because I like doing underwaters. And I would do underwaters for my Ironmans. Why? Because I want to break my addiction to air. Most people can't live without their air. And if it's ever taken away, they freak. But if you practice on the freeway, not breathing, or wherever, and if you just practice, then go underwater and work on your phobias. And that's why I like so many of the different people that are there, because they all have different mind issues. It's the water brings out things in us that breathing normally won't bring out. It's when you take someone's air away. And then you see some of these guys go that full minute or minute and a half playing down there. We're going up for air, and they're just keep back and forth like that Olympic swimmer in Irvine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that guy's just dangerous.
Jerome.
After all, our team said, just tackle him and hold on to him. But he was too slippery. Anyway, for those of you that have never done that or haven't challenged yourself, learning to take on your mind and not be a slave to your emotions that say, I'm stuck with me. No, you can be better, you can expand, you can grow. And I was thrilled that I could make it across the pool with those weights underwater on my first try. But I went, I've been here before. I've been in underwater combat. Combat water training is just get you bobbing, just getting used to bobbing and stuff. So I was thrilled to be there. I wish everybody had to do it. I wish every kid in every school would have to practice breath work, mind work, because it gives you courage.
Yeah.
It develops fortitude and courage and strength mentally to take yourself on. And that's a great challenge, and I like it. How's that?
Amazing.
Did I sell it good enough? You need to do it.
No, 100%. And I'm looking forward to going to the pool with you, with some of your Air Force candidates.
I'm not looking forward to going to
figure
pool
it out.
with you. Not at all. You're going to go, Owens, come on. I'm going to go, should have shut my mouth.
Don, you got any last things?
Yes, to give a quick introduction on your book. Tell us a little bit about that and then how people can find you.
Why don't you hold that up? The book is called Beyond Average, and it's beyond average because I've always been average. I was never the stud. I was never the gifted. I was just the average guy. But I had a coach who said hard work can beat better talent. And he ended up being the U.S. Olympic coach in swimming. He was my high school coach. And he said, Owens, you're not very good. But if you work out, and if you do what I say, you'll beat better talent. And over the 3 years at Anaheim High School, we produced 2 Olympians off our high school team, 5 All-Americans. Wow. We won everything in Southern California, big school. And that's why he left my high school, went to Long Beach State to Michigan, and Michigan became the U.S. Olympic coach. He lives in Fullerton, John Urbanchek. But he told us as average little kids, we didn't know we had an Olympian kicking our butt. We thought it was just some guy who couldn't speak English. He was from Hungary. He was a full-blown Olympian kick butt kind of coach. And what's he doing this 3 times a day, yards after yards. Anyway, my story should be your story, maybe, that average can beat better talent. So high school, then PJ, just do what I say. Go dark, you do it, you'll find out you're not average. Ironman, don't do it. Just do this. Wow, you're not average. Come back at 50, you're not average. And everyone thinks you got to be you measure yourself by somebody who's really good. Don't do that. You just stay in your lane and do what you need to do. Don't compare and contrast. They may not be there. You just take care of your business and focus. You'll be surprised how much more talent, music, science, speaking, athletics. There's so much more talent. And I sound like a grandparent. There's so much more talent in these kids, but someone has to believe in them and help get it out of them.
Exactly.
And that's why the book is stories on you can do more and be more than you think you can if you have the right people around you.
True.
If you have the wrong people, you got the wrong people.
Yeah. And a big part of what I'm hearing you say too is that you have to be willing to give something up in order to get something more,
I say it this way, you've got to learn to say no if you want to say yes.
Right.
So what are you going to have to say no to from now on in order to say yes to your why?
Right.
And no one wants to say no to their eating or their friends or their culture or their job or the way they sleep. They don't want, I just want to be comfortable. And you cannot be comfortable to do anything because everything that you and I want lies outside of our comfortability.
Exactly.
But everyone wants to be comfortable.
Preachers of comfort.
And you can't be comfortable if you do great things. So suck it up and change.
Yep. No, this is amazing. And so thank you so much for coming on. And we look forward to working with you in the future on all kinds of stuff. And we like to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Elevate Weekly, Brian, for all of your marketing needs, as well as Melon. You see the hat Don's wearing, that's one of our favorite brands and best hats out there for performance, as well as 10,000 and Robert Owens. Check out Beyond Average.
Let me just say real quick, there's an audiobook, which is much better than the book because I did it.
Okay.
It's your voice.
It's my voice.
Oh, man.
And I get to read my book, and so the editor wouldn't let me put this in, but this is what really happened, So if they want, they can go to my website, and my website's just my name. It's roberthamiltonowens.com. And there you can check where the audiobook is, and all the guys tell me, we listen to the audiobook. It's fun. Like, I know, because most men don't read books anymore.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah. So if you like it, and here's my phone number, 949-542-9600. Got it? 949-542-9600. If you want, call me, and I'll listen to what your issue is. And I've got calls from 27 nations. Austria and Australia. Mr. Owens, what's your issue? What are you doing? It's so much fun. And so also, if this was any good, will you please contact these guys, write them, go to their site, communicate, say, this is what I liked about this guest, and this is what I got from it, and thank you, so that these guys know the kind of people to bring on to help you with what you have. And they won't know if they're doing a good job unless you communicate. So you need to communicate with them and say, Owens was like this, and Chuck was like that, and what are the 3 things you take away? You got to do that.
Feedback. We appreciate all the feedback.
Yeah, we do.
So you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. We're so honored to have you. And
I'm honored to be alive.
We got to get you back on after your next adventure.
Yeah.
Just honestly, I'm not going to show up with him and let him do our underwater workout with me. I'm wiser than that now. Put the ego away. I'm just going to say, yes, sir. I'm going to be easy.
Hey, we're in.
We're in.
Yep.
Awesome.
See ya.
Bam.